My name is Marianne Jensen. The title of my original oratory is The Seam Ripper Society. There's a dress hiding in the back of my closet with a seam that's been ripped and resewn so many times the fabric is beyond repair. It's a dress I purchased before I joined the Miss America organization. First, it was just the hem, too long, then the back zipper, too tight, then the neckline, the sleeves, the sparkle, until one day, this dress barely looked like me anymore. It had been altered to fit an idea of me that wasn't mine. And that's when it hit me. This wasn't just about the dress, this was about my life. Because society doesn't just ask us to fit, it hands us a pattern. And when we don't match it perfectly, we are unstitched, taken in, let out, until we either fit or fall apart. Today, let's talk about what I call the Seam Ripper Society. First, the invisible forces that tailor us into versions of ourselves we never asked to be. Second, how this repatterning hurts more than it helps. And finally, how we can stop altering who we are and start owning our original designs. Since the time we're born, the world starts measuring us, literally and metaphorically. Percentile charts when we're babies, potty training in preschool, lifestyle numbers in elementary, report cards in middle, PSATs, SATs, ACTs, AP tests in high school, along with rankings, likes, followers, views. We learned early that approval is tied to how well we fit the pattern. Wear this, say that. Don't be too loud, but be confident. Be smart, but not intimidating. Be yourself, but not like that. Greta Gerwig covered this in her 2023 blockbuster hit, Barbie the Movie, with a powerful monologue delivered by America Ferrera. You have to never show off, never get old, never be rude, never be selfish, never show fear, never fall down. It's too hard, it's too contradictory, and nobody ever gives you a medal or says thank you. A 2022 study from the University of Houston found that adolescents who feel pressure to conform report significantly higher rates of anxiety and significantly lower self-esteem. Not because they're doing anything wrong, but because they feel like they're always being adjusted. Personally, I know how that feels. I've been told in speech rounds to soften my opinion. I've been told as a black belt that my taekwondo routine was too unconventional for a pageant stage. I even heard a girl tell me that I should add hair extensions. At some point, you stop asking, what do I love? And start asking, what's expected of me? That's not self-expression, that's sewing yourself into someone else's silhouette. Now you might be thinking, what's the harm in a few tweaks? My evening gown for the Miss Utah's teen pageant last year was beautiful. A sparkly velvet blue mermaid gown covered in iridescent sequins. I loved it, but it was too long. I had to get it hemmed. I adjusted it so it fit me. But my other dress, I changed it so it fit the organization. And here's the thing about constant alterations. Eventually, they weaken the fabric. Take a look at school dress codes. According to the National Women's Law Center, girls, especially girls of color, are disproportionately punished for dress code violations. Not because their clothes are inappropriate, but because their bodies don't fit the pattern. Or take a look at book bans. In the 2022-23 school year alone, schools across 33 states banned or restricted access to 1,557 unique titles, targeting stories that were too offensive, too queer, too political, stories that didn't match the approved cut. That's not tailoring, that's silencing. And every time we try and fit someone into a mold that wasn't made for them, or we tell them they're wrong for showing up as they are, eventually they stop showing up at all. The National Center for Health Statistics shows that US suicide rates are up 37% since the year 2000. And Utah has the 7th highest rates nationwide. When we tailor society, we sew mouths shut. I know what it's like to want to belong in society. Be on the runway, not in the audience. You start tailoring yourself bit by bit, piece by piece, and hope and pray that no one sees the seam coming undone. I joined the Miss America organization last year. I joined because I wanted to. My whole life, I had looked for opportunities where I could put myself out there and find my place in society. Publishing my first book at 11 years old, creating my own Instagram profile at Books by Marianne, achieving my first degree black belt, heck, even joining the NSDA. But this was the ultimate opportunity. The moment I received my sash, my glowing reflection was proof that I belonged. I finally felt like I had my place in society. But as I dove into pageant prep, that sparkle started to dim, and that's when the unraveling began. I had never done a pageant before. I had never even watched a pageant before. I'd never been part of the pageant world, so I had a lot to learn. As I began prep with pageant officials, people who had competed before, teachers, coaches, I realized I had a lot to change. I had short hair, I needed a tan, I wasn't a dancer, my walk was too casual, and my talent was too out there. So I booked the spray tan, put on fake nails, glued on false lashes, and hoped and prayed everyone wouldn't see the bobby pins, safety pins, and threads holding everything together. One day I was waiting in my basement for an interview with my interview coach to begin over Zoom. I opened up Zoom and the girl on the computer staring back at me didn't look like me. She looked like everything the pageant world wanted her to be. The false eyelashes, the fake nails, the spray tan, the shapewear, the hair extensions. But she didn't look like me. I realized that I had been trying to wear so many hats and crowns on my head that I no longer knew who I was. The bubbly pageant girl, the creative writer who never ran out of ideas, the awesome student who constantly got a 4.0 GPA, the fierce black belt, the speech kid who could win a speech round with a well-timed eyebrow raise. But I was no longer Mary Ann Jensen. I was at a speech and debate tournament last year, and I was reapplying my lipstick in the bathroom. Between rounds 2 and 3, I looked in the mirror, but the girl looking back at me didn't look like me. Not because of the bun, the bold lipstick, the blazer, not because of the fake tan, or even the fake nails. Those were the changes I'd liked. But because I'd stopped showing up as myself, I'd become a patchwork of what everyone else wanted me to be. And the thing is, even that version didn't win. So I did something scary. I started writing like I actually talk. I kept my hair short. I stopped apologizing for sparkle. And I wrote speeches that didn't just mean something to me, they meant something to someone else too. Because after a round, a girl came up to me with tears in her eyes and whispered, "Thank you." That was the first time I felt seen. And that's when I realized I didn't need to fit the pattern. I just needed to wear it proud enough for others to find theirs. So, how do we combat the Seam Ripper Society? We stop altering ourselves for approval, because you and everyone else in this round was not made to be one size fits all. You were made to be flawed, fierce, and fearless. You were meant to be full of unexpected stitching and sparkle. There's a dress hiding in the back of my closet. It doesn't quite fit, but it tells the story of all the times I tried to. And now, I'm not adjusting it anymore. I'm keeping it just the way it was. Because I'm not here to be hemmed, trimmed, or hidden. I'm not here to be tailored to taste. I'm here to show you and the world that we are not made to be one size fits all. And you don't need to fit the pattern. You just need to wear it proud enough for others to find theirs. So don't change the pattern. Change the runway.